So that's cool. So yeah, so that's what we got coming up in 2023. You know, that's the gear that we bought. That's what we got going on. We're just going to keep trucking down the road, and we're going to just keep having fun and keep experimenting and keep learning, and trying to capture it on camera and bring it to you guys as much as possible. And then hopefully you guys will find it interesting and you'll keep supporting what we do.
Yeah.
And if you don't,
for sure,
we'll stop making videos. It'd be that simple.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, we're never going to stop making videos. Just people just stop watching them, you know?
Yeah. We just make them for ourselves. So you, me, and Charlie over at Ultimate Studios will watch them and that'll be about it.
Yeah, for sure. Let's just hang out with the three of us, you know?
It'll be fun though.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, thank you for, oh, wow. Thank you for the super. I didn't see, I just saw it come through. Thank you, Bill. That's very, very cool of you. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much.
He says that, yeah, that's really nice of you. Let me drag his comment on here. He deserves a, how come I can't drag his comment? What's going on here?
Probably because it's super chat.
Oh, super chat won't let me put it on the screen? Okay. Well, thank you, Bill. He says that Mara makes great tape machines. When I researched around, their name came up all the time. And I spoke to the owner over there. Chris. He's really cool. He was really cool. I mean, really nice guy, very, very pleasant. Seemed like it would be a really cool experience. And like I said, I was very close to doing it. If it, it probably will happen in the future because I just, once I get something in my head, I have a hard time letting it go. So
kidding.
I got to assume that sooner or later there'll be a tape machine here at one point or another.
Oh, I know. I know there will be, you know?
Yeah. Sooner. I just don't know when it's going to be. But yeah, we'll definitely do that. But yeah, we're going to, you guys continue to leave comments beneath this video and on our other videos. If there's other, like I said, ideas, can't promise we're going to be able to implement everything, but we're going to do as many as we can.
Yeah. Yeah. I know I still need to work on the gain staging video, but that's like I'm having the same issue with the gain staging video I had when I did the patch bay videos. Like I know I want to do it. I'm just not sure how I'm going to do it yet. So it's like, one of those things, like as soon as I figure out how I'm going to do it, then I'll dive into it and get it done. Also, I mean, I don't know if it's official or not yet, but supposedly on January 7th, I'm going to come out and do a live mix.
Oh, yeah. Okay. You guys, I didn't know what you were about to say.
Yeah. Supposedly on January 7th.
You're supposed to come out. You're supposed to come out. You want to work on the board a little bit. Yeah, we're going to do, we're going to do a live stream. Not sure what time it'll start, but we're going to just going to run the camera and then we'll eventually, it'll be replayed, but Dave's going to come in and play with the board and play with the gear a little bit. So yeah. That's unless the world comes to an end, let's hope it doesn't. That should happen on January 7th.
Yeah, depending on the weather too, I mean, it looks like we're having a winter out here, so
But it'll happen if it doesn't happen on that day for some reason. That is going to happen at one point very soon. And the next time you can come out here, we'll definitely do we'll do that. Yeah. We'll do a live streaming. People can watch you mix and ask questions and those kinds of things. And you can play with some of the new gears here.
Yeah, plus I got to play with the board for the first time in months, so
Yeah, you get to use it and have fun. It's fun. I mean, you'll have a good time with it. So yeah, that's gonna happen. And then we're gonna do other videos together. You'll be down, and we're gonna do other. I have a whole list of all the different videos. Which ones you're gonna do with me? Which ones you won't be here for? And so I know to do them. And when you come here, we try to do blocks of 3 and 4 videos so we can utilize the time. And we're gonna do a ton. We're going to do a whole year's worth of content. We're going to, and then we're going to record. We're going to do some recording, as I said earlier, but again, it won't happen until probably the spring. But our first thing is going to be, we're going to record, because I'm getting ready to do a drum recording course, and we're going to record drums to the SSL, and we're going to mix it with hardware. Then we're going to take those same sessions and we're going to mix them with plugins, and we're going to do all that stuff so people can get all excited about the fact that we're going to compare hardware to plugins, and people love that. Oh, we got another. So thank you so much for the super chat, man.
Music Studio. Mach 3 Music says he's our #1 fan. Thank you, sir.
Nice,
we appreciate that.
Thank you so much. Yeah, you guys are great. I mean, again, our audience for the most part is slow but steady, but they're really highly engaged and they like what we're doing. And we appreciate it, man. We're just here trying to help, and we're just sharing our learning experience with you is really what it is. It's just, we're learning and we turn on the camera and we learn.
We're having a really good time, and a lot of people are enjoying watching it, which is freaking awesome, and not at all what we expected. So
No. I didn't know if anybody would watch any of these videos, but no, I'm glad that you guys do, and you guys are digging it. If you didn't see the Pultec video we did, the EQP, last week or the week before. Go check that out. We get a lot of views on that. A lot of high praises for that video.
Yeah, that unit is so good. You know, I mean, it's like,
yeah.
I still like not being familiar with an actual Pultec. I still want to know exactly how familiar that's, you know, how exact of a copy that is from an original Pultec.
Well, you'd have to go get an original, which they have them, but you know, just like with anything else, right? You could put, if you put two of the same units together, they're all going to sound a little different anyway. Hardware is not going to sound identical. It's all going to sound different. So you'd have to get an original Pultec. I don't have one. Obviously, my guess is it's really unbelievably close. It sounds like all the Pultec plugins I've ever used. I mean, it has that sound to it, but it just sounds like it has a little bit more depth to it. We haven't done a hardware to plug in Pultec, but we're going to. That's on the list to do the audio-scape versus the universal audio versus the whatever it is, the waves one.
The Puig Tech on the waves.
I have 2 or 3 of them that we can try just to see what the differences are. We haven't done a lot of hardware EQ to software EQ yet. We'd like to do some more of those because those seem to be a little bit closer. I'm real interested to try the new Tridents I bought. Trident makes a plugin of that unit, the 80B. So I'm going to probably pick that up and we'll try that. We did the API ones this year. We did the API plugin to hardware. And I'm going to do the SSL. So there's ones we're going to do because people ask about EQ and how close is it. I only did one, and that was the API. And the API it's fairly close. I mean, it's way closer than what the compressors are. I've yet to hear a plug-in compressor that sounded like the hardware counterparts. Not say it didn't sound good. It didn't sound like the hardware to me. Didn't sound like the hardware to me at all. But the EQs maybe a little bit closer, you know? Man says he tries to watch all the content you guys put out. Ultimate Studios and Produce Like a Pro. Still learning from all things, even though he's been in your career for 20 years. Yeah, cool. Yeah. Ultimate Studios. Charlie's he does a lot of, his content is really great as well. He does a lot of what we're doing, but he does a lot more. I mean, he's, you know, let's face it, he's got better production value. he's got better quality videos than we have. But he does a lot of good teaching. He's not on there. And so is Produce Like a Pro. Warren's great too, but
Warren's amazing.
A lot of the YouTube channels are just out. A lot of them, and I'm not saying Warren's like this, but a lot of them are out there just trying to sell you the gear that they got because they get commissions on it or what. Where Charlie doesn't do that. I don't do that. I don't give a shit if you buy any of this stuff. We just we get on here and say, this is what we think. If you're interested, if you're looking at this piece of gear for whatever reason, here's what 2 guys think of it. Take that for what it's worth. If you buy it, we don't get anything for it or anything at all. So there's not too many channels that do that, but I know Charlie's like that. He's really, he's really good at, he's not there just selling stuff. He's just trying to show, because he has a lot of stuff, you know, here's what different things sound like with different microphones. Here's different pieces of gear. And I think he comes from it from this very same angle that we try to come from it, more from a teaching perspective. And we're not just, we're not a sales page, you know, so, but thank you.
I mean, we, you know, like I said, we're just happy if people are getting stuff that they like, you know what I mean? Like if you watch one of our videos and you get a piece of hardware and you feel like it helps you out and you love the sound of it, that's awesome. That's what we want.
Great.
You know, perfect. That's what we want. So, you know,
and if you don't, and you don't like the gear, you found that, now I know what I don't like. I like this instead. That's just as valid. I mean, there's you know, all this stuff, none of this stuff is, you know, a bunch of unicorn stuff, magic pieces. It's just all equipment. It's just all tools, man. And everybody's got a different, you know, a different set of ears and they like different things, and none of it's wrong. And sometimes we surprise ourselves. I know a lot of times, you know, like when we do our videos, like even in all of them, but especially in the EQP video where we don't even know what each other's going to say. We don't listen to it and then figure out what we're going to say and then roll the camera. We basically run the session through the board, make sure everything is working, patch everything, and then we say, okay, let's listen. And what you see on camera is really our genuine first reaction. It really is.
Yeah.
And sometimes we hear the same things, and many times we don't hear the same things, and we say it. He goes, I like this, and I go, I don't like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's like with any one of those hardware videos like that. I mean, like we literally, like we patch it, we run audio through it just to make sure that there's actually audio passing through it, and then we shut it off. We don't listen to it.
No, we don't analyze it or anything like that.
Yeah, we don't do anything until we hit the record button. So like say like my first impression is my first impression.
Right.
You know, David's first impression is his first impression. That's genuine stuff going on there, because we didn't, like I said, I'll run, like, for some reason or other, I seem to be the hardware setup guy while David does the video stuff. So you're like, I will patch it. I will run video. I like with the EQP, like I ran audio through it. I kicked the bass. I kicked the low end up to make sure it was doing something. Turned it back down, and then hit the stop button on the music, and that's it. Okay, we're ready to go. You know, so
yeah, it really is that simple. So we don't know what each other's going to say, and we don't have any preconceived notions of it. And sometimes we absolutely agree, and sometimes we don't agree at all, and that's okay.
Yeah,
it's no big deal.
I think the hardest thing I've ever had to do in a studio was when we were doing the 1176 shootout with the plugins, where I was trying to get the plugins and the hardware matched as far as like compression and release and everything. Like that was the hardest thing I've ever done, because it was a lot of tuning before we'd hit the camera. But even then, still, we weren't. You know, like we weren't analyzing it. I was just looking at needles. You know, like get the needles to where they were all moving at the same distance and at the same rate, and then off. We're done. And then we started analyzing it once the cameras were on. So like I said, and that's the video that Steven Slate commented in, which still freaks me out to this day.
Yeah, he did. He had a nice comment about it.
Yeah, the fact that Steven Slate took the time to watch one of our videos, guys, that's huge for us. Okay?
Yeah, I mean,
that was huge.
Yeah. I mean, and he was very complimentary, and he thought we did a really accurate test. And that was great. And we weren't comparing stuff to his plugins, by the way. Not that we couldn't have, because actually, in hindsight, I have his 76 plugins on that rig. I could have done it. I didn't think to do it.
Yeah. How many can we do too?
No,
you know what I mean?
We were thinking about the CLA, the Waves, and the Universal Audio, because those seem to be the more popular ones that came to mind. But we weren't doing his plugins. We were doing doing other plugins, and we said the plugins don't sound like the hardware.
Not even close.
At least I couldn't. We couldn't get them to sound right. We couldn't get them to sound the same.
Nope. We tried. Couldn't do it.
Love you guys. Thank you, Charlie, brother. Charlie is a newfound brother, and we'll be back talking to you soon.
We love you too, Charlie. Believe me.
Yeah, we really. Charlie's a good guy, and me and him text an awful lot about equipment, and I'm always asking him, "What do you think of this? What do you think of that?"
Yeah. Yeah.
There is no magic. I stress to the point people every day, convincing them to ignore the marketing. Electrical audio can be measured in watts, volts, frequencies, ohms, resistance, and capacitance, etc. That's very well put.
Yeah.
It's very well put. None of this stuff is magic, and you can get if you're not a good engineer. We were talking a little earlier about the craft and learning the craft. If you don't have, and I don't care whether you're using plugins, hardware, or both. If you don't have basic engineering fundamentals down, you won't make any of this stuff sound good.
No.
And I'll even go as far as saying, I think I've said it once before, mixing with hardware, it's harder in that you have to really understand gain staging. You really have to understand the gear. There's a lot more going on there than just dropping a plug-in. It's faster in the workflow and turning the knobs and instant on off. The benefits there are fantastic, but it's not like just dropping a plug-in and picking a preset. There's no presets in analog. So you really have to know this stuff inside and out and know how to make it work. Yep. And that's where it gets back to, that's, some people call that a con. It's a downfall, and it takes time. It's expensive. It's old. It's clunky. It takes time, and you're not going to learn everything. You're not going to learn anything in a 15-minute YouTube video. You have to have the gear in your studio, and you have to take the time to really learn it. You need to do that with plugins too, but not to the degree you need to do with hardware.
Yes,
and so,
absolutely.
Yeah, hardware. When you go into this game, you got to go in. You can't go half in, half out. You either got to really commit to this and learn it, or you're not going to have a good experience with it.
Yeah. Well, I know I've said that, before too. It's like, I think what in my beginner hybrid video too is I said the very first thing you have to know going into any kind of hybrid working with hardware is if you're not happy with the mixes you're getting in the box, you're not going to be happy with the mixes you're getting hybrid.
Nope.
You have to know what you're doing. You have to be getting good mixes. You have to be able to know what a good mix sounds like in your studio before you're going to be able to use the hardware effectively anyway. So going through the trouble and expense of building a studio like this is worthless unless you know what you're doing. So, you know, and that's the thing I stress over and over again. So, you know, like you said too, you have to be an engineer. You have to be. You know?
Yeah, or to some degree, you have to be willing to learn, right? So, I mean, there's all different levels. So you have to be willing to learn, and you have to practice. And it is a craft. And I don't care whether you're using plugins or hardware or stock plugins, a third-party plugin. It doesn't make no difference. Nope. And so that's where the training comes in, and you start in the box. You start in the box, you start with your stock plugins, and you learn the fundamentals. If you can't get a mix to sound balanced, clean, and I'll even go as far as to say professional, which is the stock tools in your DAW, then you have more work to do. Yep. Okay, it's just you buy some special third-party plugin. It's going to make your mix sound awesome. There's no such thing. I don't care what anybody says, and it's the same thing with hardware. It doesn't mean that you can't. There's progression, right? You take time and you learn and you graduate. But it's like we said earlier, it is a craft, and people that watch this channel know that. My other YouTube channel, that's more for beginners and people are just, weekend warriors, recording musicians. They're not engineers. They're musicians that just want their stuff to sound decent. That's different. That's different. So that's, you guys know that though. If you're watching this channel, you know that. At least I hope you do. That's why I love this channel. You guys are the real deal. First impressions is what it's all about. Thank you, Kaiser. And we try to be. We don't lie to you. And like you said, there's a lot of things. We'll may do something. I think we did this. It's happened in 2022 when we did the How Did We Get Here series, where a lot of the stuff that we, opinions that we had and things that we thought we were going to do and how we were going to do and the way things were in the beginning, we learned as we were going through this process that we were wrong. In some cases, we were wrong about a lot of things, and we shared that with you guys in that 3 or 4 part series called "How Did We Get Here." If you haven't seen that series, you should go see it. You go watch it because it's just us two talking about different milestones from the time that I purchased the console to setting it up and what did we learn. We listed all the mistakes we made, and boy, there was a lot of them.
Yeah, we owned up to every one of them,
and we did. And we're not pretending like we know everything. We don't know everything. We know much less than a lot of other people, but we also know more than a lot of other people. So we try to help the people, we're learning and then we're trying to teach others.
Yeah. The process we went through to get to where it is now, because we haven't changed a lot in there since we did those videos, I mean, like we haven't done much changing since then, because where we got it to is what works. Yes. And like I said, our setup might not work for everybody else, but it works very well for us, and so we're not doing a lot of changing anymore, which was a great place to get to, but it took us a year to get there. So
right.
Yeah.
And it took a while.
It's a process.
It's definitely a process. And it's still tweaking a little bit, but it's what it has. You're right. It hasn't really changed all that much. There's been a couple of new pieces of gear that came in, but the overall workflow, the way things are set up, a lot of that has been the same over the last 6 or 8 months. Because once we got it kind of dialed in, we said, okay, we got to stop, and I got to work in here now for 6 months and work and figure my way through. And I've done a lot of mixes in here, both for myself, just as learning, and then since then, thankfully, lots of client mixes, and I've learned a lot, and I've learned a ton about this stuff, and I'm still learning. But we're having a good time, Abe wants to know, what mics do you both have? What are they for?
Cheap ones.
I'm not a tracking house, so I don't have, like, if you want to know about microphones, go watch Ultimate Studios Inc. Charlie's got, I think his next video coming up, Oh, he's at 25. He laid out like 25 microphones on the floor. We're going to test all these.
Did you see that? Yeah. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Like, I don't, you know,
yeah.
wow.
So he'll tell you.
Yeah.
I have some microphones that I have coming in that I have already come in for my recording drums course. I have some microphones and stuff, but I haven't even started using them yet. But as far as what do I use on a daily basis, not much, because I don't track artists. It's not what I do. I'm not a recording studio. I'm a mixing studio that does some recording from a teaching perspective, and that's really it. So I don't have a deep mic locker at all.
Yeah, I have a small collection of mainly Rode and Blue with some Shores and Sennheiser stuff thrown in as well, but nothing above budget. You know what I mean? Nothing above budget level stuff. And you know, for what tracking I do, which is not much anymore, they were all fine. You know, I mean, they work fine for me. So, you know, and I don't need any more than I have. So for that matter, I probably have more than I need. So, I mean, the mic I use most is this one. This is a Rode Procaster. This is the mic I use most.
Oh yeah, for your voiceover, and I use the SM7 here, but that's just for voiceover stuff.
It's the only mic that's not in a case over on the shelf. So, you know, that's what it is.
Yeah, so. I mean, many years ago when I was recording artists, I mean, I had all the standard stuff. You know, the 414s. I had, you know, Rode NT1As. I had, I didn't have real U87s, but a couple of U87 clones. I mean, I had S57s, all the different, all the standard stuff. Sennheiser 421s. But I've never had a really deep mic locker because that was not my focus. You know.
Yeah.
Man Network says, outside of liking, sharing, and subscribing, is there anything folks like me can do to help you guys? Man, just keep doing what you're doing, man. Just keep watching and like, share, subscribe. You know, that's the most thing, because this channel only exists if people like you are watching and getting something out of it, because we don't get anything out of this. We're not a sponsored channel. We don't make, I mean, the channel's not very big. I'm making nothing on this channel as far as ad money goes, very, very little. And so we do this as as like a passion project for fun. And so we're only doing it because you guys are watching it. If you guys stop watching it, we're going to stop making them. So keep doing that.
We'll just keep doing that. But what we need, like, share, subscribe, a comment too. Dropping comments
helps.
Makes the algorithm notice you. If people are commenting on videos, the algorithm notices you. We get in front of more people. Watch the videos, hit the like button, drop a comment. Anything. We don't care what it is. Just drop a comment so that the algorithm notices us.
Well, something, we care what it is. I mean, well, the good news is in 2022, all the riffraff from the channel pretty much has been eliminated. We have we get very little hate comments today. In the beginning, it was unbelievable. I thought, my God, what the hell did I get myself into? But no, most of that's gone. So so just, you know, and also too, it's happened only a few times, but just so people know, okay, I'll say this publicly because people sometimes don't really realize. Look, I have two YouTube channels. One YouTube channel that I have is way bigger than this channel. Between those two channels, I get literally hundreds of comments in a week, sometimes 50, 60 a day. And I personally, not some assistant, not some hired employee like a lot of these other channels. I personally go in and respond to every single comment. And a lot of times, so people know, I'll just say, hey, thanks for watching. And that's offended a few people in the past. Like, oh, you don't engage with your audience. You just say thanks. That's just like a bot doing that. I'm like, I don't have time, as much as I would love to, believe me. I don't have time to write 4 sentences in every single thing, because sometimes somebody will just be making a point on a video and I'll say, thanks for watching. Or they'll say, hey, I like this over this in your video. And I'll say, great, thanks for watching. I only do that to I want to acknowledge that acknowledge that you actually sent me a comment and you know that I read it. That's why I do that. Most YouTube channels don't even respond to half their comments because they said there's too many of them and they're tired of filtering through all the hate that goes on. I go through all of that. I filter all the nonsense out so you guys never see it. And like I said, it's gotten so much better recently, which is great. Yeah. And even if I just give you a thumbs up, even if I just say thank you, it's just to let you know I did read your comment and I appreciate you. That's it. I don't have the time to do a personalized response to everybody, because I would have to hire a team of people. I get so many comments on my 2 YouTube channels. So I know most people probably realize that, but I have had in the recent past people get pissy because I don't engage enough. I don't know what you want me to do. I mean, I don't have the time, guys. I'm running 3 different businesses here. So I gotta use my time wisely. So I hope that's okay with everybody. If you have a specific question, you know, you can email me through the website and I can try to help you that way. But if you're just commenting on a video, just know that's why I'm doing it that way. That's okay.
Yeah, and I read all the comments once they're up, because it's David's channel. So like, I don't have that end of it. So like, but I look at all the comments on the videos and I try to respond to the ones that, you know, need to be responding to. You know what I mean? Like questions or things like that, or somebody that needs a clarification, I try to get in and respond to them. So, you know, sometimes I'm seeing them all too, you know?
Yeah, sometimes we'll respond, but a lot of times it's just like someone will say, well, I like this over this. And I'll go, okay, thanks for watching. I mean, I don't know what else you want me to say beyond that. Don't be offended by that.
You like that. Great. Yeah. It's valid. You like it. Great. You know?
Yeah, that's wonderful. You know, I mean, just so people know, that's the only reason. I'm not trying to brush you off because I don't have time. So that's as easy as that. Let's see.
Man Network says, when you reply to me, I expect a massively long love letter. Yeah,
good luck with I wish I had the time.
Thumbs up. That's about as massively long love letter as you're going to get.
That's it. Right there. I'll tell you, though, we're one of the few channels, and I think Charlie's like this too. I know he is. He doesn't have assistants running his channel. But there's a lot of these other channels, bigger channels, great people, love them. But when you're emailing them or responding, if you think they're actually responding and reading your comment, you're incorrect about that. It's one of their interns that are doing it for them. They don't even see half your comments. And I know that because I'm friends with some of these people, and they actually told me that once you get a little bit bigger, brother, you're not going to be reading comments anymore. And I try to stay with it between my 2 channels. I try to as much as I can. But hey, what are you going to do? So that's that. Nothing. So
You're not gonna do anything.
So what else, Dave? Anything else? Anything else you guys got? We've been on here an hour and 30 minutes.
Yeah, we're on an hour and a half. I'm pretty much covered everything I had to cover. So, you know, I mean.
So if you guys have any other questions or anything else?
I do expect everybody to watchdog me. So if I do a studio tour 6 months from now and every single piece in here is changed, you do have the right to bust my balls.
Yeah, so, he says, I'm not getting anything new. I got everything I need.
Oh, I'm not planning on getting a lot of I'm not planning on getting a lot of gear. I'm not planning it. That doesn't mean it's not going to happen, but I'm not planning it. But again, I said too, like if you see a studio tour 6 months from now and every single piece is changed, bust my balls incessantly in the chat. You're entitled to it. So, you know.
Yeah, we think things will change. I'm sure there'll be new pieces of gear, and there may be old pieces of gear going away, but I have a feeling there's going to be some new pieces of gear coming in sooner than later. That would be my guess if I had to bet.
Yeah.
Are you still doing subscriber tour? Well, not right now. We did a couple, and honestly, they weren't really well received. So part of experimenting and trying to make content that you guys really want to see, is something that I don't want to make videos nobody's going to watch. And so I don't, because again, it just comes down to sheer being able to run 3 websites. That doesn't include all the clients I have to deal with on private teaching and everything else. To do these things take a long time. And so right now we're not. We may at one point, there's a couple of guys that have some studios that we may do some studios, subscriber studio spotlight. But there's not any plans right now. But
yeah, we're not planning on doing like a regular monthly schedule like we were talking about originally, because it just didn't translate.
Didn't translate. You know. People didn't really want to see them, and that's okay. Yeah. I mean, we try new things, and you don't know what's going to work unless you do a few of them and you see what works and what doesn't work. And so we want to try to make videos that people actually are going to watch. Let's see. What are those showing studios owned by subs? Yes, that's what we were doing. Yeah. We were trying to feature different people's studios, but there's a lot more technical stuff that has to go on to make that come off right. And it really has to do with the person that we're talking to. Do they have the right technology and the right internet and the right cameras and all that stuff? And it's not easy. And because a lot of people don't usually do that kind of stuff on a regular basis. So they don't have all that technology to make it really come off right. So that's what we were doing again. And part of it was also my schedule and being able to find time to do those things. So that's what we were doing. Again, we might do a couple next year to try it again. And if it turns around, who knows? Maybe we'll do something. Let's see. Abe wants to know, hey Abe, how's running guitar pedals on your mix chain band? I've tried it a couple of times. It was okay.
It's cool.
It's cool.
But
I didn't spend a lot of time with it. The amount of times that I really need to do that, I just found using a plugin was easier. But it's a cool thing. And you can get some really cool tones, and I don't have a lot of pedals or anything like that. So I started to go down that road. I played with it a little bit. I thought it was cool, but then I kind of lost interest and kind of put it off to the side. And maybe I'll revisit it again. I don't know.
I think it has more to do with the pedals that you're using to me. I mean, like if you have a guitar pedal that does something really cool and unique, then I can definitely see doing it more. I mean, like my pedal collection is very basic. I just have your basic distortions, chorus, reverbs, delays. I don't have anything extraordinary for my collection. So you're not getting anything unusual out of it that you can't get out of a plugin or anything else. So yeah, I agree with Dave. I mean, it's a cool idea, but I think it's way more about the pedals that you're using than it is about actually just using pedals. So, I've seen Charlie get amazing.
Yeah, he has a whole collection of he uses them a lot, and he records lots of guitars. He has a lot of that stuff in house. I don't have that stuff in house. So yeah. So that's why. So yeah, he's done some really cool stuff on that. And if you go watch his channel, you'll see he's done some really, really cool videos on using guitar effects in mixing and that kind of a thing with some distortion boxes and some flangers and some other things, I think.
Yeah. Man Network wants to know if it was a live stream. Yeah, they were live. The studio tours were live streams.
Yes.
Which was better because that way you have interaction with the chat to keep it moving along sometimes. But it's like I said, people just weren't really, people weren't reacting to it in a way that we felt it was worth continuing. We had a good time with the guys that we did it with. I mean,
they were great guys.
Friends.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with them.
They did amazing jobs at doing it, but people just didn't really seem to care. So we kind of backed off to do other things instead. So.
Yeah, that's all it was. It was if those streams were really popular, or if the subsequent, replay videos got lots of views and people were interested in it, we would continue to somehow work it out and do them. But at least the few that we did, no one really seemed to care, and unfortunately, and so it was like, okay, well, then if you guys don't want that, we'll make something that you guys want to see. We hope at least that's what we try, because it does take a lot of time to put these together. We want to try to do the stuff you guys want to see for the most part. So